Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Pitstop Fracas, where we are just about recovering from that epic Bahrain Grand Prix. If you're tuning into the YouTube, make sure you subscribe below, and I'm sure you can see on camera I am rocking a baseball cap in memory of Sebastian Vettel. Vettel's performance in the race today, we'll be getting stuck into that. We will also be looking at the way Hamilton managed to hold off Max Verstappen. We had a heroic performance from Sergio Perez, as well as a battling Yuki Tsunoda, who managed to finish in the top 10. Touching on Sebastian Vettel, he had an inevitable crash into the back of Ocon, as well as Mazepin doing a couple of pirouettes on the first lap. We got so much to get through today, and to join me, I have Mahad. I'll be coming to you later, mate, when it comes to Max Verstappen. I have Kwame, Kunle, Richard, and Celia. Let me start with you, Celia. How you doing?
I'm good. That race was wow. It was absolutely, obviously my camera isn't on purely because I wasn't gonna come on the pod, but the race was just absolutely too much. I couldn't stay away, to be honest. It's where do you want me to start from?
Well, we'll get into it. We'll get into it a bit later. But after that Perez performance, we had to make the call. We had to be like, Celia, we need you on the pod. We need you to talk your talk about Perez. So don't worry, Celia. We'll be getting into that. Richard, how you doing, mate?
I'm all good, man. I'm all good. It's a good weekend all round. Certain Dutchman got dunked on. You love to see it. Lewis obviously won 96 win that he's got in his career. Yuki got a point as well. We all love Yuki. And yeah, it was a good weekend all round, apart from Vettel doing pirouettes and whatnot. Yeah, pretty sound weekend.
That's what we like to hear. Kunle, joining us from Canada. How you doing, bro?
It's been a good weekend. Formula One's back. Cars are back on track. Cars are spinning before the end of the first lap. You know, that's what we love to see. We love to see.
What we're here for. It's what we're here for. Our resident Martin Brundle himself. Sorry, Kwame Brundle. How you keeping, bro?
I'm good, bro, man. And yeah, it's good to have everyone back. I was getting tired of international football. I was getting tired of seeing Sam Newton for England. So good to have some proper, racing back on our screens. And what a race. Everyone's on job.
Yeah, it's fine. It's funny how you said everyone was on job, because even during the Discord, I gave you a job as well, because Max was complaining about some differential issue and we were on the Discord. By the way, if you guys haven't tuned into the Discord, follow the Twitter account. The link is there in the bio. Yeah, on the Discord live, I was like, Kwame, I need you to jump on. Max is complaining about a differential issue. I was getting all excited, thinking, yeah, his car could be coming to a stop. He might have his brakes failing or whatever. So we went and sent Mahad to go and do a little bit of background research on what the differential problem was, and we can touch on that in a bit later on in the pod. Speaking of Max Verstappen, we have Mahad here, who has made some audacious claims about him being a top driver. I even heard elite driver. I even heard top guy on the grid. How'd your boy perform today, man?
He finished second behind the best person on the grid. So yeah, great weekend. Amazing race. First of all, let's forget about Max. Amazing race completely. Needed F1 back, and they duly delivered. I don't ever want to see Australia be the first race on the calendar ever again. We need these type of tracks, these 100%. Type of races going on. And 100%. It was a fantastic weekend all around. Exciting qualifying, exciting race. So much going on, so much to talk about, but obviously we'll get into it on the pod. And yeah, Max finished second because he's the second best driver on the grid. This is how life goes sometimes, you know?
Very, very, very careful with your words there, Mahad. I like it. I respect it. I respect the shamelessness, to be fair. But you know what? We'll get into it. Look, guys, that race for me was absolutely fantastic and a great advert for Formula One in general. I suppose before we get into the race itself, Max Verstappen himself, he stuck it on pole. And to be fair, quite comfortably, he nailed that pole position. Let me come to you first on this, Mahad. What was your thoughts going into the race? You know, he just nailed qualifying. He hit purple. I had to walk off the Discord. I wasn't happy at all. How were you feeling about that?
I felt like on the run up to even qualifying in practice, it looked like that Red Bull was the fastest car. on a 1 lap pace. So I was quite confident, especially looking in Q3, Q2, about how fast this guy was going. This guy was setting out purple laps like it was nothing in this Red Bull. So credit to the Red Bull team, could have actually finally got a car that can be at the top of the grid. They're taking advantage of the slip-ups by Mercedes, and that Honda power unit looks like it's going to be real trouble, especially in qualifying. Surprisingly, Max doesn't usually get poles when you look back on his career. I think that was his 4th ever pole.
That's quite surprising.
The last one was the last one was in Abu Dhabi. Looking at Bahrain, just the race in general, usually it's the person who's on pole usually wins the race. So the Red Bull overall would be disappointed about not winning this weekend. But in terms of qualifying, they should take some pride in getting pole on that and show stability of the car. Don't talk to me about Perez and why he didn't qualify even in the top 10. But we'll speak on that later on. But they should be happy getting pole, but obviously it didn't work out for him at the end of the weekend.
Yeah, 100%. Fully agree with you. That Honda engine does look sharp. No lie, it definitely looks sharp. You know, we also have to look across the other side of the garage. Unfortunately, Sergio Perez didn't make it into Q3. Celia, what was your thoughts on Perez not quite, cutting it in qualifying?
Okay, so at first, I can't lie, when he didn't make the top 10, I literally, people were talking on the TL and I was becoming very defensive. I think that Red Bull, when it comes to strategy, sometimes they're not smart. It doesn't matter if Perez said that he could go out on the mediums again. It was like the final 3 minutes, send him out on the softs. That way, you know that he's getting up there, and you know that he's going into Q1. When they made that choice, they took that risk and it didn't pay off. And I think that's might always be my issue with the second car for Red Bull. Obviously, we're going to talk about the race later, but it cost them not being able to have a second car in terms of like tactics and in terms of what they were doing. So as much as Perez, his first lap got deleted because of the track boundaries that he went past. But if I'm honest, even though he said he could do it, I think sometimes Red Bull should overrule certain situations. It's like Mercedes did it with Hamilton one time. I can't remember what race it was, and he did P2 on softs because it was Q2. Sorry, he did Q2 on softs because he had a bad lap. There wasn't enough time, and it was simply just to get him into Q1, which should be people's mindset. So as much as I blame Perez, I blame Red Bull.
Yeah. I mean, you can't argue with it. And if you're speaking, if you're speaking about Christian Horner, trust me, we'll be touching on him later as well. I suppose the final key storyline that came out of qualifying was Sebastian Vettel starting with a points deficit. How's that feel, starting the season? A points deficit as a result of his performance. I think he was driving under wave yellows. Richard, what was your take on that, mate?
It wasn't really a good qualifying for Vettel, but I think it was more on the team. Not on the team, really. But more, kind of more on the team rather than him. Because when I was looking at the telemetry of his qualifying lap, he was getting like with the way he broke down, sort of like the whole of his qualifying lap, he was getting like mini purple sectors, but also getting yellow sectors for when he had to slow down, for when Sainz had an engine cut out, and then for when obviously who ended up spinning and kind of ruined almost everyone's lap. So that really didn't help him. I think he projected that if everything went well, he probably would have got let's say a P11, P12 maybe, which is not great still, but it's obviously a lot better than the P18. But yeah, the way he got reprimanded, I thought was quite harsh, to be fair, because for him to get a five place grid penalty, it makes no difference. He's only back 2 places. But for him to get 3 points as well, I thought that was a bit over the top, regardless of circumstances anyway. Because apparently it was that he did slow down, but he didn't slow down enough to what the stewards wanted him to do. So, I don't know, he kind of he's had a terrible weekend, really, and he kind of got fucked over by things that were pretty much out of his control.
Yeah, I suppose there was a great degree of steward's discretion in that as well. And to be fair, like all jokes aside, I personally thought it was a bit harsh, but you know what? It is what it is. He obviously didn't have the best race either. And I suppose coming onto the race, you know, we cannot get away from the key storyline, the key battle that was between Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. At the end of it, Hamilton claimed victory number 96. It was, for me, a heroic performance from him to hold off that charging Red Bull. You know, diving into the first corner, Hamilton was behind him. Max looked like he was eking away. He comes on the radio, and the first thing Max does, I don't know if he's trying to copy Lewis Hamilton with his, you know, radio games that he does, but he was complaining about a differential issue. And I suppose before we get into the pit stops and the tyre strategy and Mercedes and Red Bull and Horner and Wolf, let me come to you, Kwame, first. What do you understand about this differential issue? Was it solitary to the car? Was it solitary to the race? Is it something that we could possibly see throughout the season? Is there any way you can just shed some light on that?
Yeah, I can shed some light on that still. Yeah, differential issue from what I saw, from what I read during the race, was mainly the axis of the car. So like the axis like of the wheel. So what will affect like the rear wheel drive or the front wheel drive. And that one term could affect like the gear shift or the tires, and in the long run that could affect like his handling, his braking. So essentially, like it's affecting the base of the car. That's what he's complaining about. Do I think it was a major thing? I'm not sure on it, because like I said in the Discord, like top drivers have issues with the car where they have to push through and add us. You've had Hamilton with the free wheel situation, Silverstone. We had even Ricardo and Red Bull, Monaco. We had no brakes and he still won. So he was leading the race, like Mahad said, in Bahrain, where pretty much everyone who, if you qualify in pole, it should be a guaranteed W. And unfortunately, it didn't work out for him today.
Oh, that sounds so good. That sounds so good. Let's come on to how this battle sort of panned out. You know, Hamilton was running behind Verstappen for the early exchanges, and Mercedes decided to pit him earlier than Max. I can't remember off the top of my head what lap it was, but he pitted they pitted Hamilton and they put him onto hards. Now, that decision to put Hamilton on the hards, let me come to you firstly on this, Kunle. Do you think that was a right decision for Mercedes to pit Hamilton from the mediums and put him onto the hards?
I mean, now it looks like it was the best decision, I guess, but at the time it did look like a good decision. Like, I feel like Mercedes decided, okay, maybe we don't have the pace, so we're going to take the strategy and be in control of what strategy drives the race. You know, most times when you're in front, you control the strategy. Like, you pit first to avoid the undercut, or you pit first just to keep your drivers in a safe limit with the tires. But they decided to give Hamilton the pit, you know, put him on the hards, new hards, and sort of pressure Red Bull into making a decision with the strategy. Like, they had two drivers to play with, and that's where Sergio Perez sort of comes in. So when they did that, like in the Discord live, in the Discord chat, it looked genius, right? It was like, okay, now Red Bull either have to pit to cover that pace, or they go long. And for that first few laps, it looked like, yeah, okay, is going to be comfortably in front by the time the Red Bull pit. But I guess the end of the race, that was a different story, because, you know, things would unfold. And when you see the hard tires, you don't expect it to be 8 or 9 laps unless it's close to the end of the race. You expect it to be at least maybe 20 laps, at least. You know, you go long on the hards. You don't go short. It's durability, initial pace, durability, and sustainable lap times. You know, you're keeping up like certain lap times. You're staying to it. That's what we all expected. But I guess as the discussion would go on, that's not what happened.
Yeah, and I think that was the fantastic thing about me for this race. Like, looking back on it, I was very anxious. I was tense. I was like, oh, Max is gonna win. I don't believe it. I was waiting to shut my laptop down and just run off. I just didn't want to see anything or hear anything about Formula One. The way in which that pendulum was swinging between Max, between Lewis, between the tires, between the tactics, it was just a fantastic race throughout. And you touched on it perfectly. Lewis came back out after having that first pit stop. He was going hard on the hards, and he was putting in some serious lap times, which meant that undercut worked to his prevail. But the key thing here is that, you know, Perez was a bit behind. So was Bottas. And I don't think Bottas was really doing enough to help them. Now, I know we're going to come onto it in a bit with regard to the pit stops. But up until then, I'm going to come to you on this, Richard. How were you assessing Bottas's performance up until that first round of pit stops?
I can't lie, he was mad shite. I can't, to be honest with you. Like, he wasn't putting any pressure. He wasn't putting, like, come on the first lap, like, what was it, turn 5, he got beat by Leclerc. And I just thought, yeah, I know what time it is with Bottas. I've been saying on the predictions, like, he's mentally checked out. He's not going to put any pressure on the Red Bulls. Like, he's probably going to get dunked on by Checo come late in the season. Like, when I was looking at his lap times and whatnot and the pace of him, he just kept dropping off more and more and more. So I was thinking to myself, are they going for like an alternative strategy, or like is he just like, I don't know, does he have an issue, or is this just him for the season? Like, so I think with them pitting Lewis early on the fresh hards, if you will, after like I think like 10 laps or something, because Lewis was even saying on the radio, I think he pitted too early, and he said to him back, it's just to avoid the undercut. But I think they literally adapted throughout because of the slow pace of Bottas. Anyway, because there was a risk of like Bottas, let's say, not even getting the podium, and that wouldn't have been a good weekend for Mercedes at all. So I think it's the case of if you switch roles, if you let's say actually not even switch roles, let's say Lewis is not even, let's say Lewis is retired, Bottas is in Lewis's position, and he's the leading man of the team. Max would have won that race comfy. He would have won that race comfy, and the chassis would have been completely different.
Yeah,
they might have just went hard all the way with Bottas, pause. Like, they wouldn't even went on mediums, you know, because he wouldn't have been able to give Max any pressure, and it would have been a shit weekend all around. So, yeah, I don't know what Valtti's problem is, man. Honestly, he didn't. If Lewis wasn't as good as what he is, Lewis wouldn't have won that race, and Mercedes wouldn't have had a good weekend. But because he's had to cover for Bottas in a way, that's how they've ultimately got the win. So,
yeah. It's definitely one of those. I mean, up until that point in the race, I was looking at lap times. I'm thinking, bruv, you need to put your foot down. You need to step up, because we saw Perez charging through. And I know Celia is waiting to come off the mute and talk her shit about Perez, but we'll come on to that in a bit. Don't you worry, Celia.
Do you know what? Can I just say one thing about Bottas, please? Because
go for it.
His post-match interview was so embarrassing. And you know, when you're just looking, they're like, "Are you not embarrassed? Like, can you not see
fast? I'm just gonna
because
faster slap. Don't forget that."
Do you know what he said? He said, "Oh, that Mercedes were playing tactics." Yes, and you weren't even part of the tactics. They were actually trying to protect you. Do you know what? I keep on saying this. If not for that safety car right at the beginning with the Mazepin spin, Lando Norris was on him. When I mean he was on him, he had a great start. He had overtaken Leclerc, and he was on Bottas. Like, if not for that safety car, it would have been finished. And then he went and did the last fastest lap as a consolation. Find some shame. Find it.
Participation trophy.
Yeah, and then they said that, and this is the problem for Mercedes, he's becoming a liability. This race was won by Hamilton, and we've all said it. But you know what? He could have cost them so much more. If not for the experience of Hamilton, Bottas could have cost them more. And like Richard said, when Checo comes back, and if he starts to put in great qualies and comes up and doesn't have issues, even Norris, bare of them, all those P4, 5, 6, all of them are looking at Bottas as easy prey to come and go for, because poor start, everything's just rubbish. And then they said on the radio, they were like, "Oh, something might happen, so be there to mop up the pieces." You came on Netflix and was talking all this nonsense. You came on and said that you've been doing this hardcore training rubbish, and this is all you've come to bring us. I'm so sorry. Just collect shame. I finished my rant, but you need to collect shame.
No.
Can I speak on Bottas quickly? Because
go for it, Kunle. Go for it.
Okay, I don't think he had a bad start. I think he was vulnerable because of the tires he started on. Leclerc and Norris started on softs. And traditionally, if you have two cars with decent pace on softs and you're on mediums, you're vulnerable. Like, you're likely to get eaten up at the start. And yes, he wasn't on the pace of Verstappen or Lewis, but he comfortably finished third. He even had time to get in, get new boots, and set fastest lap. Like, yes, maybe he wasn't as quick as the guys in front. And I think it's sort of been the unceremonial title battle before the season even started. Like, everyone's already saying it's going to be Max versus Lewis. Yes, that's that. But he was comfy in third. He wasn't, even though he had a bad pit stop, he was still comfy in third. Like, he was as comfortable as he could get.
Sorry, not gonna lie. After 5 years, I find this extremely. This is not the first time he's had a poor start. Was it not this same race with Russell? Was it not? I'm sure it was this race.
It was the same location.
It was the same
but
location,
against Russell, it was the outer loop. Yeah.
Thank you. It was the same location, same kind of similar thing. Poor start. After 5 years, I don't think that those are the kind of issues you should be having. Even just for pace, he was slower. I may sound harsh, but I just feel like you're in a Mercedes. The level that you should be performing at, you are not performing at it, and it's clear to see. Look at Checo. Checo had a terrible start, but you don't see people coming at him or saying anything because of what he did during the race, if you get what I mean. I mean, I may be wrong, but
it might just be the underdog story,
This story is trash. I don't want to hear no underdog story.
But I'm saying, like, Checo's story might just be the underdog story. That's why no one's coming for him. Like, oh, he had a bad car. He had to start from the pit. Yada yada. I mean, let's be honest. Checo had shit qualifying. His teammate was on pole, and he didn't make Q3. But we're not on his neck for that, right?
Yeah, but he's historically
I know you're gonna come here in your Christian Horner bag, like you're gonna be Mahad Horner and defend your team and defend Red Bull. But listen, it's.
I'm not defending Red Bull. I am gonna slaughter this inept man called Bottas that's stealing a living in this Mercedes car. He drives the same whip as Lewis. How many seconds behind?
37.
In the first couple of laps. This is ridiculous.
By the end of the race,
I know he did the lap. He did the lap. He did. By the end of the race, it was 37. But even during the race in the early laps, Verstappen and Hamilton were gone. They were absolutely gone. What you're in the same car as them, in the same car as Hamilton. What you're supposed to be providing that support for Hamilton to sandwich Verstappen, because Perez had to start from the pit lane. So you have an advantage in terms of tactics, in terms of taking out Max Verstappen and doing what you have to do. You're relying on Hamilton's ability. Mercedes is relying on Hamilton's ability to outperform the vehicle. We spoke about, if Mercedes have issue with this car, Hamilton can overcome these issues. Bottas cannot. Therefore, he will become a liability later on down the line. This is the first race, but we'll see it come to pass later on down the line, especially with Perez. Like what Celia said, if he starts to qualify, in better positions and starts to get up there and apply that pressure on Bottas, Bottas is going to get stomped out by Perez. He's going to get cooked. He's going to get cooked by Leclerc. He's going to get cooked by Norris. He's going to get cooked by all of these, man, yeah? If he can't step it up from what he was doing today. Yes, he got a podium. One of the most shameless podiums you'll ever see in your life. And he got fastest lap, participation trophy. I ain't trying to hear anything about Bottas today. It was all Hamilton. Hamilton did what he needed to do today. Absolute GOAT performance.
So I think just wrapping up now on Bottas, I think personally from my point of view, and especially from Mercedes' point of view, being in third, he should have at least put himself in a position to help assist with the strategy of toppling Verstappen. Now, as the race progressed, I know we got up to the first round of pit stops and then we went off on our Bottas agenda. You know, they brought him in. Mercedes, they brought in Hamilton again after 16 laps and they put him back out on hards, and he knew that and at that point it was Verstappen in first, Bottas in second. They then brought in Bottas and there was a bit of a calamity there. You know, his wheel got stuck for 10 seconds, and that I think is 100% on Mercedes because that affected the strategy moving forward. Obviously, as it panned out, Max Verstappen came out and he was charging and he was hunting down Lewis. And for me, we saw one of the most epic performances from both of them. You know, they were both having to carve their way through battle markers. It was the first race of the season. There's all that, you know, the psychological battles going on, not just between each driver, but between each teams. It was just, for me, so much at stake. And especially on the Discord, it was so tense. What we saw was Max make an attempt on him on lap 53. And obviously he ran a bit wide and he used, you know, he went beyond track limits to gain an advantage. What supposedly saw that he used a bit more of the track to sort of gain an advantage in the rundown to, I think, turn 11. And obviously he had to give the position back. And once he gave the position back, it was like Lewis just thought, you know what, I'm not going to mess about here anymore. I'm going to make sure I stretch out a lead beyond 1 second. And then sort of just ease it home. I mean, I know Verstappen got again within 1 second of him, but it seemed as though after that, after Max gave the position back, Lewis was sort of on course there. I want to come to you on this, Kwame. I mean, it did seem on paper that with Max chasing him down, he would have a clear advantage and should have picked off Lewis easily. Do you think Lewis's tyres came back into their zone as the race got into the latter stages? Do you think Max overcooked his tyres? I kind of want to get your standpoint on the tyre situation towards the end of the race.
Yeah, I think with Lewis, I think obviously Lewis had all the tyres than Max did, but I think he just managed it better. It's not like a tyres can just come back and just be good. I thought he just managed it better. And like you said in the Discord as well, I felt like Max was just too rash. He wasn't tactical and didn't pick the right place to like overtake him because he had the 5 seconds. Well, I'm pretty sure 5 seconds from the pit lane, maybe 10, and then he closed that down. And then when he was behind him, it's like he didn't know where or how to do it. I don't know if he overthought or if he overcooked the tires, which I think he could have done, but I didn't know like how he wanted to do it. I don't think he had a plan of how to overtake Lewis. And he just felt like he just kind of went all for one of that and that overtake, and then he overcooked the track. And by the time he came back, Lewis was just gone and he couldn't come back.
Yeah, I mean that was, I think, that the key moment. He obviously had one dive around the outside, and you know he went beyond, gave the position back, and obviously Lewis sort of had it controlled. But I don't know, guys. Can you sum it up just how tense it was? Because it for me was just crazy, man. Mahad, how are you feeling as a Max Verstappen fan?
I'd like to clarify.
Yeah, clarify. Not a Max Verstappen fan over Lewis, but a guy who likes Max Verstappen.
I feel like with Max Verstappen in that race, like Kwame just touched on, it was a bit of inexperience. In terms of like how close you got to him. You had him in your grasp. You got a lot of laps left over. You don't need to overtake him where you needed to overtake him. You could have just hung around for a bit, just kept close, because Hamilton's not going anywhere. You don't need to just take the first opportunity that's given to you, and that comes with experience. You can kind of like pick your moments, pick an easier place on the track to overtake. But that comes with time. When we're talking about Max being in these type of positions, he's in the past, he's been in a Red Bull and he's not been in those positions. The team hasn't put him in those positions where he can have those experiences, where he's so close to Hamilton and he's got the opportunity to win the race and overtake him. This is stuff that you get over time while driving in Formula One and being at the top of towards the top of the grid. A more experienced driver might have, okay, I'm in this position now. Let me stay calm. Let me find the right place to take over and so on. Because it's kind of, he dropped the ball. He dropped the ball at the end of the day because the race was in his hands. He just needs to be calm, show some patience, show some maturity, and take over Lewis because he's there for the eating. Didn't really work out. Went out wide. I don't know where I see a couple people online saying, "Oh, but Lewis was exceeding track limits the whole race." Blah, 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 blah. I don't care.
We ain't hearing that.
Because
we ain't
I
hearing
ain't trying to hear that. Yeah, at all. Because at the end of the day, when Lewis is doing that, there's nobody near him. You might say, "Oh, he's gaining seconds advantage on the laps and stuff like that." Max was going faster than him anyway. He was actually taking the piss on the lap speeds. So
Exactly.
that was a clear advantage when he overtook him. So therefore, he had to give the position back. That's acceptable. He should have. We're going to talk about Lewis in a second because it's unbelievable how this guy fended him off and actually started to gain time towards the end, even though his tires are 10 laps older. But this is a real big missed opportunity for Max. And he'll probably learn from it later on down the line. But it kind of shows that this season's going to be quite close because this Red Bull might be faster than this Mercedes. So it's looking like it's going to be an exciting season.
Yeah, I suppose from that excitement perspective, we're here for it because we was gripped. We was gripped until the very last lap. We were genuinely thinking that Max was going to, pick him off quite easily. Kunle, let me come to you on this. I mean, can you put into words just how extraordinary that performance was from Lewis to hold off Max in those last few laps?
First things first, let me sip on this water.
Okay, can you tell us a bit about the water that you're sipping?
Oh, it's flavored in tears, Dutch tears.
Oh, Dutch tears, yeah. Is that why you're wearing an orange top as well?
Oh yes, we're Duncan.
Perfect. Yeah. It all makes sense, bro.
It's you know what? It was an exciting few laps to the end. At some point, we all thought, yeah, this is inevitable. This is Max's race to lose. Like, he's going to catch him easily and pass him. And, it's just going to be a procession sort of, the last 3 laps will just be Max probably passing Lewis and extending the gap. And then, it started to look like, okay, this might not necessarily be as straightforward as we think. And then there was a point where Max started gaining like 8.8 seconds a lap. It was like, okay, so what's gonna happen? Let's see. And then DRS, and then Lewis goes wide. And then Max like closes up, and it's like a DRS proper. Look, I don't want to hear the talk of Lewis been going over the track limits all race, blah blah blah. The drivers knew what the deal was. You can go over the track limits during the race. Don't do it during qualies. Don't do it when you're overtaking. That's not Lewis's. It's simple, straightforward. ABC. I mean, yes, sip on that. Yeah, you got that Dutch flavored water. Yeah. I see you. It's okay. I see you. But yeah,
that's what it is as well. Still.
Oh man.
I mean, let's say it's what it is. Lewis's. I don't think there's enough superlatives. It's a reason why is Sir Lewis while he's still active. Not many Formula One drivers can point to that. He's great. He's the best of the bunch. He's the you're comparing to Lewis. It's like, okay, how good are you? Are you as good as Lewis? Are you close to Lewis? Or how far off Lewis's best are you? And that's what Formula One is right now. It's it's a Lewis Hamilton world, and we live in it. Race on the racetrack. It's it's again, I know I'm here. I always try to support Valtteri as much as I can, but Lewis is when when there's that something, when there's that bone within the teeth, and you need someone to get it. You need someone to go scrap. It's a race for there's something on the line. There's a possibility of getting something. Even on the worst weekends, that man would go out there and it would give you consistent as best as that car would give. And there's no adjectives to say what that is. It's just greatness, basically.
You know what? I've always said, and ever since we started putting out content on Pitstop Fracas, I just running out of superlatives for this guy. Honestly, he just every week, every time we watch him, he just goes above and beyond every single time. I'm running out of superlatives. I'm running out of adjectives on the Twitter. I don't know what else I can use to describe this guy. We're actually living in Lewis Hamilton's world. There is literally no other way to describe it. Celia, let me come to you for one last word on Hamilton and his performance in the race. And I also want to ask you something else. How is Horner feeling tonight? You weren't expecting that question, yeah?
I wasn't expecting that question, but I hear it. I just want to say with Lewis, he said one thing, and do you know what? The energy was, I didn't realize what he was saying when he said it, and I don't think any of us did. I think they said, Max is the next car behind you, on the radio. And he said, Bono, let me handle this.
Leave it to me. Leave it to me.
Thank you.
I remember that. We pointed that out in the
yeah, we tweeted it straight away.
Yeah,
leave it to me.
He said, leave it to me. And you know what? At first, I was just thinking, do you know what? Lewis is like, they're stressing him out. Obviously, he's under pressure. Red Bull's car is extremely competitive. And I was like, yeah, everyone was thinking it's finished. But and that's why I said I didn't know what he said when he said it, because in defending, he caused Verstappen to go out. It was part of his defensive driving that made him go out. That's why as soon as he went out, Hamilton said it. Hamilton said on the radio, but check it, he's gone out. That takes so much experience, because I bet even Mercedes didn't think that they had it. They didn't think that they had it, but it was purely his
it's just that racecraft
of experience and that quality of wheel-to-wheel driving that he has done for many years. I mean, he was against Vettel, Rosberg, like he's had loads of that experience. And so when it was time for it, he pulled it out of the bag. Any other driver, and it's finished. They're winning. A bit unfortunate for Max, if I'm honest. I mean, I'm not his fan. I think he's a great driver. I just don't like him. But I think it was very. I think it was very, very unfortunate for him. I think he will learn. He's 23, which I didn't know. So he's still, although he's been in F1 for a while, this is the first year, because they were even saying in the pre-race interview, they said that this is the first year that he's driven in a very competitive Red Bull car against Hamilton. He has so much more to learn, because it's so different when you're behind someone to when you're actually competing with them. It's a completely different battle from when you're in a lesser car to when you're in a car that, okay, yeah, we can actually challenge, but now it's about driving. Now it's about wheel to wheel. Now it's about how we do it. So I think he will learn. As for Horner, Frank Lampard, Fat Frank. But as for him, he was very gracious in the post-race interview with Toto and the interviewers. However, I think it's going to burn him, because all throughout testing, all throughout quali, all throughout practice, everything, they've come out on top. And this one, they just didn't, and they couldn't. It wasn't. I'm not even gonna blame Max, if I'm honest. I felt like he put in a serious drive. Obviously, with hindsight, you might say he could have done things slightly differently. But as I said, I think that it's just the pure skill of Hamilton. Like, put some respect on his name. Literally, because even me, like, I was doubting him. Everyone was like, oh my gosh, Max. Oh my gosh, Max. Everyone, literally. And then you see why he said even he wants the competition, because it's true. I think we've gotten so comfortable seeing him in the front that not being challenged, that now anybody that's challenging him, you're thinking, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Whereas it's like, no, he's thinking, I'm still a race driver. I want the competitiveness. Like, afterwards, in his post-race interview, he actually looked like he had enjoyed this race more than any other race in a very, very long time. Purely because of the competition. So I mean, Hamilton, man.
You know what? On that point, Celia, I just want to make one confession. Hamilton, if you're out there listening to this, man, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I shouldn't have doubted you. Man. I think on balance, you know, the reason why I had my reservations for Hamilton, because throughout the whole weekend, Red Bull were quicker, right up until. And we thought a Red Bull was going to win this race right up until the last 5 or 6 laps. No, the last 2 laps. The last lap, which is just amazing to see that, you know, correction. It's not amazing to see, but it is a bit of like a kick in the teeth, especially for Horner, because it's like we were expected to win. You know, we had the fastest car across all sessions, and right up until the end, you know, that squeaky bum time, Hamilton's come through and delivered for Mercedes. So it's just one of those things. Look, I hope it sets us up perfectly for the rest of the season, and it will definitely be an intriguing battle. Look, there was a few other standout performances today. There was Yuki Tsunoda, who I thought drove a fantastic race. Richard Mahad, let me come to you on this. What was your take on his performance, first race in F1?
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, Yuki. This guy, he is the star boy. I know there's another star boy we talk about that drives for AlphaTauri. I don't know where he finished.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
We'll see where he's at. I'm not sure where he is. But there's another gentleman, 20-year-old Japanese guy, rookie season, first race, points on the board, overtaken Alonso like it's nothing. Very, very, very confident performance. Overtaken Stroll on the last lap. This guy is unbelievably quick. I don't know whether because he's a very small man and he's very lightweight, it increases the aerodynamics of the vehicle. It's giving him a little bit of that speed, you know. But this guy is lightning and he knows how to overtake as well. So honestly, this performance, I'm buying all the stock. Yeah? I'm buying it up like it's nothing because this guy's going to have a career in F1. And it kind of showed today that what this guy is actually about. Practice, even in qualifying. Q1, he finished unbelievable.
In Q2, he got P2,
yeah, P2, unbelievable lap. So yeah, I'm buying up all the Yuki stock. He's gonna go places. I don't know how Red Bull program do this. Because they're just getting guys out of nowhere. I hope he doesn't get the second seat in Red Bull because you know how.
Why is that? What happened to that second Red Bull seat?
That judge is a bit nuts still. I don't know what's going on. I reckon when Ricardo left, he just did some mad like Aborigine something curse and say, "Yo, nobody's gonna prosper in this seat." You know what I'm saying? But honestly, like this guy's got a future in F1, Yuki, and it's so great to see him put in such a performance in these first ever race.
Yeah, Yuki's the truth, man. Honestly, you can just tell through qualifying and through that race, he is actually the truth, and he's gonna go far. Like the way we put, Max and Leclerc and even Russell in that little next generation category. We've got to put Yuki up there as well, man. We have to. Because even in quali, the way he got P2 in Q2, you can even in Crofty's voice how gassed he was. Like, he is the truth, honestly. The way he was cutting past, that washed up Spaniard, the way he was cutting past Vettel. The way he was just cutting through people like they're not even there. He even said, like, I was listening to his interview, his post-match interview, like post-race interview. And the way he just spoke with so much confidence to just say, look, these guys like Vettel and Alonso, whatever, like, I actually admire them. But I just wanted to be like, but I'm a rookie. I just wanted to go through and just dive bomb and just take that chance, sort of thing. And the way he just did it with such confidence and whatnot. Like, you can there's moments, like, even like footy players, where you can tell when they do something, you think, yeah, he's the truth. With Yuki, just even though we've got like a small sample size in terms of his F1 career, you can tell he's going to go far and go places, man, honestly.
Yeah, no, Yuki for me had a great race, and I'm just looking at the standings now. Like, he finished above Stroll. That is pretty good. And we were talking about this. You know what? We might as well talk. We were talking about the Aston Martin. And Kunle. No, actually, Kwame. Let me come to you. Tell me about the Aston Martin performance in this race. Tell me about their performance and Vettel in particular.
It was not good. It was not good. The way it's playing, I love how I was going into this race. I love, I was on them as well. I got gassed, the Aston Martin, the whole British screen, race heritage and all that. And like Mahad said, man, and even like you said, Anik, you can't just copy, Mercedes. You can't just copy it because you're going to copy them. You know what you're going to do. We're going to change it. And with Seb, it was from that qualifying, from when Mazepin jumped ahead of him and then spun ahead of him, he had a yellow, and then Science had issues, then had a yellow. Yeah. And even then, apparently he went too fast anyways, even though he slowed down. So he was down to 80th, doing at the 20th. I just knew he wasn't going to be it. And, this is where, if you're a driver, you can pull it out of the bag, you can push through the field. Didn't do that. I mean, he pushed up to 14th, but come on, you should be higher than 14th in that. Aston Martin, which last year in the racing point was the third best car on the grid. It wasn't the case now, and he tried the longest stint, did not work, and then man just crashed into Ocon, bro. He just crashed into him for what reason?
For no reason.
Just for vibes.
Like craziness. Like he had a dementia or something. Man just said, fuck it, I'm just going to crash into that man. It was
man. And then he tried to blame Ocon. I was literally so shocked. I was so baffled when he was talking into the mic. I was like, huh? I was like, where?
I'm done.
They even played the replay and everyone was like, yeah, Vettel, so sorry, but there's absolutely, like, this is all on you, mate.
Good. Kunle, let me ask you one question.
Mm-hmm.
Will it's gonna it might put you in a difficult position, but will Sebastian Vettel finish with a positive point score this year in the championship, considering he's on -3 at the moment?
Is he on -3 or he's got 3 penalty points?
I think has he got 3 penalty points? Or -3 points?
Okay,
sorry. I thought he got -3 points. Sorry.
Points. It's
right,
give him
three-
both
all right,
genders,
three
man,
points.
honestly.
But you know what?
All right. I'll rephrase it. Yeah, we had George Russell in our hot take. Will he get a point? Is Sebastian Vettel getting a point this year?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes. Come on. That's heritage. That's 4-time champion heritage. He's gonna get a point. Come on, yeah.
When are we gonna stop saying 4-time champion thing?
It's a 4-time champion. You cannot take that away from the man.
There's a few people
about the old days?
People that were calling him out today. Yeah, a few people calling him out, calling him a fraud. I might be on that bandwagon.
Is the street saying he's a 4-time champion?
Streets are saying that.
4-time champion. Hey, listen,
4-time champion.
Deep dive in pod coming soon.
Jokes aside. I think Vettel will get points. I mean, again, I would give him the same liberties as I'll give Ricciardo at McLaren and Perez at Red Bull. He's new to the team. He's still getting to grips with the car. I don't think the car is as good as everyone thought it would be. Like, there was that initial hype, and same man were buying big stocks in that in
Yeah,
that
we might have
Aston
to sell them off,
Martin,
bro. We might have to
trying
like
to,
quickly,
you
we
know,
might have to quickly sell them.
wearing the bandana in the honor of the team. But you know, there's a quick reversal. Like the streets, it's a bit difficult out here. But if they get it together, then yeah, they could be the fourth fastest team. I don't think they're third. I don't think they're fourth either. I think they're probably behind Ferrari at this point.
We'll see. We'll see. I mean,
But we'll see. But because Stroll had a quiet sixth fastest, maybe. I think
He
Stroll
finished 10th,
Stroll
though.
had a decent race. I mean, he finished 10th, but during the race he had good pace. He still overtook people here and there. He wasn't getting dunked on a lot, but I guess he still finished 10th. But
look,
we'll see. We'll see.
Look, it remains to be seen. And look, let's be honest. More than likely, he will get a point. Aston Martin, I still think, just from what I've seen in one race, I still think they've got a lot to do, especially to catch up. I feel as though they can't just copy and paste what they've done from Mercedes last year. It seems that they have to do a lot of work. You just see the progress that McLaren have made, and compare it to them, and you can see that McLaren clearly had a faster car this weekend. We do 100% want all the teams to do well. We don't like to see 4-time world champions lingering at the back of the grid, sort of the way.
Not Haas, though. We don't like to see Haas too well. Fuck them up.
Maybe not Haas or the Alfa Romeo.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Put
Not
that in Rice. Put the whole team in Rice, man.
Not Schumacher, but maybe.
Yeah, Schumacher's cool. Yeah.
Maybe his teammate. Maybe his teammate.
The man that should not be named.
Yeah, he shouldn't be named. He
The
shouldn't
man
be
that
named.
doesn't have a license and his dad bought it.
We don't want to talk about him.
He's fun.
He's fun.
He's fun.
He's fun on turn 3, yeah.
I
predicted.
You know what? We forgot about him by lap 1 anyway.
Yeah, I predicted turn 4. I predicted turn 4, lap 1, for him
And he
to
got
spin out.
10-3. So
And he got turn 3. So I'm gutted.
You were close.
I
You were
wrong.
close.
I was close.
You're very close.
But yeah, rest in piss, Mazepin.
Yeah.
Wow.
Rest in
yeah,
piss.
rest in piss.
That's a bit. Yo, I don't want our pod to get turned off by Russian people. So, you know, we love Mazepin. You know.
Yeah. Sorry,
love
Putin.
Mazepin.
I apologize.
Yeah.
Sorry, Putin.
Nah, don't
We
Putin, man.
apologize.
Say Kuchu. Say Kuchu, then. Nah, fuck him.
No, we apologize.
Nah,
No, we
we
apologize. We apologize. Shit, man. All right. You might as well catch us on the Discord live next week. That's the only place you'll find us now. Look, a final segment on Sergio Perez, that Mexican starlet. You know, he started from the pit lane today. Celia, let's have your take on him and his performance today in the race.
Okay, so everyone needs to put respect on my guy's name because, yeah, at the beginning, everyone was talking about this Red Bull curse, and I'm not gonna lie, when the pre-race Horner, they were asking him about changes that were made because something was a bit off, Honda didn't like, and I'm not gonna lie, in my head I just thought, I thought, let the games begin, they're gonna mess my guy up again, like this is the cursed Red Bull seat. And then when he starts and his engine wouldn't go, I was literally like, this is the formation lap. I was like, God, like, how can they do this to us on our first lap? And yes, it's us. I can't lie. It's us.
Us.
It's us.
Us.
Because I'm fully invested.
Celia, how many of you are in that team?
Yeah. You can see Mahad there.
I'm there
Mahad's
as
there
well.
as well.
Team as well.
Mahad's
Team
there.
principal.
He's team principal.
Mahad Horner, yeah?
Mahad Horner.
Bun Red Bull, Bun Horner. But honestly, Perez, listen, I've always got time for him. He started from the pit lane. He was driving. I said, yeah, overtaking, yeah. At one point, he was P13. I thought, cool, yeah. And then everyone did like an early stop. So he then went up to, I think, was it 5th or something? And he was there for a minute. And then they brought him in for another pit stop. And so he technically had 3 stops because he had to change his tires at the beginning. Then he stopped again, and then he stopped a third time. So he technically had 3 stops. But his overtaking skills, his tire. So the reason why Red Bull was so confident to put Max on the Red Bull was because they got a lot of information from Checo while he was on the hards.
On the hards, yeah.
On the hards, sorry, yeah. When they changed his tires to the hards. Now, Checo is the king of preserving tires. Him and Hamilton have it down to a absolute T. And it serves him so well. I think that is one of his best things. Obviously, wheel-to-wheel driving, his overtakes are beautiful. Sometimes you miss it because it's like midfield what he's doing, but when they go back and show it, like, you know, if Checo is on you, he's passing you. He was passing Stroll, he was passing Vettel, he was passing all them, man. And let me not lie, I am so happy that Aston Martin are in the mud. Let the agenda run, because when they didn't want Perez, I couldn't understand why they wouldn't. He is amazing, and I promise if his qualies go better, he is going to give Mercedes so much trouble, and Mercedes know it. All the other teams know it. They know that he will give them absolute hell. Like, that's just, he's so humble. Even when you hear him talking in the interviews, I think that he's so good in that second seat for Red Bull because he has such a solid and like steady head. I think a lot of the time juniors were in that seat and they didn't know how to handle the pressure as much. Having such a poor start, having such a poor quali, you would think that he wasn't going to be anywhere near the top. Whereas compared to Albon would have great qualies and just somehow disappear during the race. Whereas the opposite is what we see from Perez. I can't lie, this is the Perez stand account. Everything, just put some respect on his name. It's high, guys.
Yeah, we're here, baby.
Yeah, I respect it.
I mean, you have to. I mean, that race performance was absolutely fantastic, and you can't doubt it in any way, shape, or form. The way he managed to last those tires on the first stint after pitting so early on, it's just a testament to his driver
of the day, no?
Yeah, he was driver of the day,
and rightly so, to be honest.
Yep, rightly so.
I think mentally having all those issues for your first race, the first time you're driving for that team, I think it's a lot. That's what I said about mentally. Obviously, he was at McLaren. It didn't work for him. He's been at he was obviously at Racing Point. He had his best season last year. So I think he's been through all of that. And so now coming in, he had the right response to all of those issues. Like, he's gonna be P3 very soon. Mark my words. Get
Perez
that guy out of here.
Perez, we're here for you. If you can topple Max, even better. We'll be here for you even more. But honestly, guys and girls, that is all we have time for today. I'm sure you can tell. I had an hour less in bed. It's been messing with my head. I was tense. I was nervous. But you know what? At the end of it, we had a fantastic race. Lewis Hamilton won his 96th Grand Prix. And let's hope that sets the standard now for the year ahead. There has been a lot of topics I know that we haven't touched on, like the Ferraris, Lando Norris, Daniel Ricciardo. We didn't even do a deep dive into Vettel himself and the Aston Martins. So please, please, please make sure you get in touch with our Twitter account, with the Discord. We're always talking. We're always talking what we want to say. We're always running agendas. We're always, firing shots at whoever we want to fire shots to, even people in the audience. I've got my eye on you, Mahad. I've got my eye on you as well, Richard. But yeah, that is all we have time for today on Pitstop Fracas. Mahad, what was it? What you got to say?
No, nothing. All right. I'm loaded for Gasly still, but I'm coming soon.
Oh, you're loaded for Gasly. What's this? Is a new Starboy?
Ads needs to come on the pod.
He needs to come and collect his Starboy.
I'm just saying he's not the Starboy on his team because he's a grown-ass man. But okay, but we can continue. That's fine. See you guys next time.
Yeah. That's a prime example. If you think Pitstop Fracas should have a brand new Starboy, jump in on the Discord, jump in on the Twitter, get involved, get tweeting, get liking, just get involved. And yeah, we'll be back with some more content for you next week. And with that, peace.
Thank you for listening.
Peace.